All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Ravens flock, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. So, it's AFC North week for the first time this season for the Ravens. Our first AFC North matchup is going to be against the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow and that offense is heading down to M&T Bank Stadium to take on the Baltimore Ravens. This is going to be a good game. It's an AFC North matchup. It's going to be spectacular. I cannot wait to see how this is going to go down. It's going to be something great. It's going to be a tougher matchup than what we originally expect because, they've been a great team, man. They've been a great team. They play some great football, and I don't expect this to be a blowout. I don't think this will be a week where we just shut down the Bengals offense like we usually do in previous years. Because this year they got some firepower, they got some weapons, Burrow is healthy, and their defense has made improvements since we faced off against them last year. So this Bengals team, they're going to be coming to play, man. They're rolling right now, 4-2 with the chance to be 5-2 if they can win this game. And then they'll be first place in the AFC North. They've already beaten the Steelers, so they already got a divisional win already. They're looking to go 2-0 in that situation. And we're looking to go 1-0 and make them 1-1 so we can hold on to that number one spot in the AFC North. So let's see what's going to happen. It's going to be a great battle. Let's get into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do the Ravens need to do to pull off a victory on Sunday? Well, let's start with the easier part. Offensively. What do the Ravens have to do offensively to get the job done? Well, I believe for the most part, number one, do not turn the ball over. Number two, if we really want to make it easy for ourselves, find a way to establish the run. Now, I think it's going to be more difficult in terms of establishing the run against the Bengals than it was against the Chargers, because the Chargers did not do well in stopping the run. The Bengals are a really solid team in both stopping the run and pass, but they do really well in stopping the run. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to run on them as opposed to what we displayed last week against the Chargers. So they're going to be looking to stop the run. They know when you play against the Ravens love to run the ball, and if you give them an opportunity, they will burn you on the ground. So they're going to be looking to stop our run and force us to pass. Obviously, none of us are scared of them forcing us to pass because we have more than enough belief in Lamar Jackson's capability of throwing the football. And this year, it's been spectacular. They have really become a Swiss Army knife. If you decide to let the Ravens run, they'll kill you on the ground. If you stop the run, Lamar's going to kill you with his arm. And the receivers are making enough plays downfield to let this happen. And that's what's great. So we can attack you in multiple ways. I just feel for the most part, Cincinnati knows that if the Ravens get off to a streak where they can just run the ball consistently on them, it's going to be smooth sailing. So they're going to be looking to stop the run. If the Ravens can establish the run, we could end up dominating the Bengals like we did the Chargers, because once that run game gets going, it's a wrap. But, I think it's going to be much difficult to run on them. Latavius Murray, I do not believe he's going to play in this game. I doubt he's going to play because of his injury. Sammy Watkins is also probably not going to play as well, so we'll see how that goes. One positive was Bozeman did practice today, so hopefully he's able to go for Sunday's game because we want to get our center back. He's been fantastic for us so far this season. But yeah, in terms of the run game, establish it. You're probably going to have to activate Tyson because, Latavius is not going to be there. So you'll probably be looking towards Freeman and Bell to take a good chunk of the carries, try to get Tyson in that as well. But if we can establish a solid run game, we can do something. So it starts with the run game. If we can establish that, it'll be smooth sailing. In terms of the passing game, we got to get some plays going downfield, man. The Chargers last week, they did a great job stopping Lamar in that offense. Lamar talked about it. They didn't really give up anything over the top, so we couldn't get a lot of big plays going against that Chargers defense. The Chargers defense just don't give up 20-plus yard plays. They protect their secondary very well, so it's hard to get deep shots against this team. Everything's got to be underneath, under 20 yards, and you just have to kill them with the yards after catch. So it's like they don't give up big plays. And they didn't give up big plays in the passing game to Lamar and the Ravens, receivers. So, that was a problem there. This week, though, Cincinnati, again, they've done a great job. Their secondary has done a great job this season, and their pass defense has been relatively solid. They do a great job as well. However, it should be much easier to get some big plays going downfield against the Bengals than it was against the Chargers. So look for Lamar and the receivers to try and have a big game here. Look for them to air it out. I know Mark Andrews is looking to have a great game. Isn't it like, National Tight End Day on Sunday, so he's looking to go off. I expect Mark Andrews to have a great game. I expect Hollywood to be able to have a great game. Obviously, we know about the drop touchdown pass last week. This week, he's going to make another play that everyone's going to be like, that's the Hollywood Brown we know. So I expect Hollywood to do his thing. And I expect to see more from Rashad Bateman because last week was an indication of what's to come. It's clear as day. They want to utilize this guy in their passing game. Not only did Lamar target this man 6 times, but I think he played 55 snaps. He was in for a majority of the Ravens' offensive snaps. They put a lot of workload on this guy, and he handled it. That goes to show they want to utilize Bateman. So this could be a week where they're going to try to utilize him even more, and they might even take a deep shot with him. So look for Bateman to try and make some noise in this game against Cincinnati. Obviously, we got our first-round pick receiver. We want to see what he can do. We already know what the other guy on the other side for Cincinnati can do. We'll get to that in just a second. But, yeah, let's try to see what we can do in the pass game. Try to get something going downfield. I'm looking at Bateman. I'm looking at Hollywood. I'm looking at Mark Andrews. Let's see if we can get that going. Somebody who could surprise us all in terms of our receivers could be Devin Duvernay. Now, I think he's probably going to do something in the pass game, but more so, I think he could do something in special teams. I think he can do a great job this week in the kick returning game. He's going to put us in great field position, and the Ravens will be able to take over. That's something I can see. I can also see the Ravens trying to utilize James Prochet as well in this game, so we'll see about that. The Ravens have been utilizing their receivers consistently, so I think everybody's going to eat here. Maybe at some point they're going to utilize Wallace, but right now they want to utilize Bateman more. They want to continue to utilize Hollywood. They want to get Devin Duvernay and James Prochet involved even more, so we'll see about Wallace for later on. Maybe even Boykin because he's come back. They want to try to get him involved. So yeah, Lamar is going to be looking to feed his receivers in this game, and they're going to have to do that because I believe Cincinnati is going to really zone in on trying to stop the run. So it's going to come down to Lamar and the receivers to make big plays down the field, which I believe they can. So really it's 2 things, man. It's not 2 things, 3 things. Don't turn the ball over, establish the run, get big plays downfield in the passing game for the Ravens offense. That's pretty much it. Let's go to the more difficult side here, the defense. What does the defense have to do to make sure we can get this win? Well, they've got to be as dominant as they were last week. Last week, the Ravens defense put up their best defensive performance. They shut down Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, man. No big plays was really given up on this secondary. They did a great job. Deshaun Elliott comes back, and he's a beast. He gets a sack and a pick. He's just doing his thing. Chuck Clark making plays, flying around. Marlon Humphrey shutting down Mike Williams. I mean, we did our job. Defense showed up. Justin Houston getting a sack, which, by the way, I believe he's going to get a sack in this game. Either a half a sack or a full sack. Either way, he's going over 100 career sacks in this game. Odafe Owe might also get a sack for himself as well. So we'll just see what happens with that for the most part. But, yeah, I think defensively, the number one thing we have to do is make sure not to give up any big plays. Make sure not to give up any big plays and slow down these receivers. Let's be real, man. They got weapons all around. Joe Mixon is going to be a problem in the run game, but in terms of the pass game, Jamar Chase has been a monster. Jamar Chase has been a beast. He's been the best receiver to come out of this draft, and he's been performing like it. Him and Joe Burrow, clearly they have chemistry from their LSU days, and they're just displaying it in the NFL, and it's been magical. So Jamar Chase has got to be the number one guy, which, of course, we know Marlon Humphrey is going to be partnering up with Jamar Chase a lot, so we'll see how that goes. But they also got other weapons here like Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. They've got other guys, and we know what Boyd can do to our defense. We remember those past days. So, yeah, Boyd, Higgins, and Jamar Chase, we got to worry about in the pass game. Obviously, Joe Mixon, we're going to have to worry about in the run game. But the most important person we got to worry about is Joe Burrow. We've got to get to this guy. We've got to get to this guy and put him on the ground. We got to sack him. Now, in terms of putting pressure on Joe Burrow, this is going to be a little bit more difficult, but we'll see what Wink Martindale wants to do because Joe Burrow has been fantastic against pressure this year. Against the blitz, he's been fantastic, and he's been killing it. So, we're going to have to see how Wink's going to mix up between blitzing Joe Burrow and trying to bring everyone backed up in coverage and trying to confuse him with some of the defensive schemes. Almost lost the ball right there. With some of those defensive schemes that he's going to try to utilize to try and trick Burrow because, again, he's still a young quarterback. He hasn't seen everything yet, and he's still learning and developing and reading defenses. So, the way the Ravens defense was able to confuse Justin Herbert all last week, I'm hopeful Wink Martindale got something prepared for Joe Burrow to just confuse him. When we played up against Burrow last year, we threw a lot of things at him that confused him, and it worked out efficiently. Hopefully, we can do the same this season. Obviously, he's more poised, he's more experienced, so it's going to be a little bit more tougher. But if you can do that to Justin Herbert, I believe Wink Martindale's got a plan to deal with Joe Burrow in terms of confusing him with some defensive schemes that he's going to throw out there that's going to confuse him. Hopefully, we can get that. But yeah, number one thing, do not give up any big plays over the top. Number two, slow down these receivers as much as you can, because if you let Jamar Chase go off and if you put so much emphasis on Chase that you forget about Higgins and you forget about Boyd, we're going to be in trouble. Last thing you got to do for the most part, other than getting to Burrow, getting him on the ground, sacking him. Get some sacks, put some pressure on him, getting him on the ground, sacking him. Other than that, stop the run. Do not let... Well, there it is. Right in the middle of a preview, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how the ball went all the way over there, but clearly I'm ready to go. That's some football. I'm ready, man. Ball's all the way over there. Cool. But, yeah. Other than putting the pressure on Burrow and trying to get him down, not too much pressure, but trying to get him down and sacking him, one thing we got to make sure to do is to stop Joe Mixon. Do not let him go off. Can't let the run game go. So besides focusing on these receivers, we got to make sure Joe Mixon doesn't go off. Because if we give him any space, he will go off and it will be a problem. So to assess defensively what we need to do for the most part, obviously you want to get a turnover, but that will come if we put pressure on Burrow and force him to throw to Jamar Chase, which at that point, Marlon Humphrey, if he's playing great coverage, may get something there. Maybe you see Anthony Averett get something because he's got a couple picks on the season, but who knows? But number one thing is to make sure we don't give up any big plays over the top. Slow down these receivers as much as we can. Put the pressure and most importantly, get to Joe Burrow, put him on the dirt, sack him, do whatever you got to do. And lastly, make sure not to let Joe Mixon go off. If we can do these things on the defensive side, we should be fine. Offensively, of course, establish a run, don't turn the ball over, get some big plays in the pass game, and make sure we can get something going downfield with these receivers. Try to air it out if you can. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all we got to do if we want to win this game. So with that being said, what will be the outcome in my opinion? Well, I think it's going to be a tough game, a tougher game than the Chargers were. Cincinnati, they're definitely ready to try and beat this Baltimore team. They're much more improved than what we've seen in previous years. They kind of feel like the 2011 Cincinnati Bengals, where it's just like it's a new frontier where it's like, okay, this Bengals team can be something special with a young quarterback who's talented and then a young talented receiver. Back in 2011, it was Andy Dalton and A.J. Green. Now you got here in 2021, you've got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So it feels like we're seeing that change. And now the rise of Cincinnati is coming. So because of that, we've got to be prepared to deal with that. But I believe the Ravens are ready. The Chargers game shows that this defense can still play well and can still execute if they put their minds to it and focus. Not to mention the biggest change that changed everything in terms of tackling and making stops and putting pressure on the quarterback, Josh Bynes. Putting Bynes in over Patrick Queen did so much more. It did so much more. It was a vast improvement. So Wink Martindale, that was an amazing change. That was a change that needed to happen. You need to continue with that change this week. Put in Bynes and watch the magic work. So I think the Ravens are going to get the job done. They understand this is a very tough foe, and they understand it's an AFC North opponent. They understand what this game means, and they're not going to overlook it. They're not going to overlook their opponents. You can't overlook Cincinnati because they've been great this year. So it's a difficult opponent. It's an AFC North opponent. It's going to be an AFC North battle, but we'll see what happens here. I think the Ravens get the job done. They'll still get the win. In terms of final score, 28-21. I think it's going to be a 7-point win for us for the most part, 28-21. Lamar has a couple touchdown passes. Maybe he gets one rushing. I'm going to sit here and let's just say 3. I don't even know. Let's just say 3 for the sake of it because I don't know if I don't think our run game is going to go off the way it did against the Chargers because Cincinnati's going to zone in on that. So Lamar's going to have 3 touchdown passes, and let's just spread them around. 1 to Andrews, 1 to Hollywood to redeem himself from last week's drop. And then let's see Rashad Bateman. He's going to get 1 this week. I think he's going to get his first touchdown of his career this week against the Bengals, and it's going to be a red zone touchdown for him. They're going to put him in the red zone, and they're going to utilize his size, and he'll get his first career touchdown. So 3 touchdown passes for Lamar, a rushing touchdown from either Le'Veon or Devontae Freeman. The Ravens defense is going to make stops, force Joe Burrow and that Bengals offense to turn the ball over at least once. And they're going to make plays to slow down Jamar Chase, Higgins, and then Boyd. And then for the most part, it's going to be competitive because Cincinnati's offense, they're tough and they're going to put up points. But I think at the end of the day, the Ravens will be able to hold on and get the 28-21 victory, and we'll move to 6-1, and we'll head into the bye week exactly where I expected us to be. So we'll see what happens come Sunday. It should be an amazing game. We'll see what happens, man. But with that being said, that is all I got. Somehow I started off with the ball in my hands walking into the shot, and then all of a sudden halfway through I lost the football. So I don't know what to make of it. It's been that type of day. But yeah, with that being said, I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And I'm out of here, man. Peace. Go Ravens. Let's get this W.